welcome again everyone, all the human era explorers and all the new people, welcome to this channel. This is a history channel, but it's not your conventional history channel. This is a place where we discover the story of the human era. So what is super exciting in my opinion is that I think now more recently there's been more curiosity around our ancient past. I'd say that this has actually been brought up most recently by the Joe Rogan Experience show, which we had Flint Dibble and Graham Hancock participating and discussing about ancient civilizations, old human history, past and things like that. Coincidentally, I just started my channel just a few days off since the podcast took place. So I'd like to share a few words from my perspective on what they're saying. Yeah, so from my perspective, I think what's happening recently is there's a lot more people who are curious and interested in pulling back the curtains of history to beyond 2,000 years from today, right? In the Joe Rogan Experience show, we had Flint Dibble and Graham Hancock, who just participated in a very heated discussion, a very intense discussion. It was a 4.5-hour video to watch. And both of them presented their cases about ancient civilizations, the history of agriculture, a lot of different topics, to be honest. Despite their differences, I think what's great is both of them are pushing the boundaries of our ancient, or the curiosity of our ancient ancestors, where we come from, what we used to do, and how that has eventually led to us. I think it's super exciting to hear what they have to say. I'll go ahead and share some of my notes about this. So to start off with Flint Dibble and Graham Hancock. Flint Dibble is somebody who, with his meticulous archaeological digs, uncovers concrete evidence of the past and relies a lot of his arguments based on that. Very scientific type of character. Graham, on the other hand, pushes the boundaries of theories with, about lost civilizations. So a very different perspective. And I think because they had such different perspectives and their kind of specialities and way of looking at things, there was a lot of that kind of lost in translation a little bit, and a little bit of that heated argument taking place. Despite that, I think in the end they did agree that what needs to take place is more archaeological studies need to be taking place, so that both Flint Dibble's side, him and his colleagues can do a lot more excavations, but also Graham, who relies on archaeological work to be able to further validate the theories he has. So both gentlemen do agree on that fact, that this can, the archaeological findings and research can definitely be expanded on. I'll also leave some extra links for areas where you can donate if you like. Also cited by Flint Dibble in the podcast. Let's go ahead and look at 3 ways that both of these gentlemen, Flint Dibble and Graham Hancock, what their perspectives are and like how they kind of angle an argument, like where the key differences were. So first of all, in terms of their approaches, part out of the 3, evidence. Flint relies a lot more on physical findings of archaeological sites, while on the other hand, Graham focuses on broader patterns that might not be as tangible. Then in terms of timeline, Flint Dibble works within the established archaeological timelines. Graham, on the other hand, proposes a timeline stretching back even further. And then in terms of their focus of, or area of study, if you like, Flint studies past societies through everyday life, whereas Graham explores the possibility of advanced civilizations existing in the distant past. Very different ways of looking at this whole picture. Their focus, of course, is quite different from both sides, but I think that's what kind of brought a lot of that kind of substance to the discussion that they two were having. And I think regardless of the heated arguments or whatnot, I think it was still a step forward for these kind of dialogues that are taking place. From my point of view, what's most important is that both of these gentlemen are actually sparking our curiosity, the viewers of this discussion, onto thinking about the history from a much more wider perspective, right? But with these discussions taking place, in my personal opinion, I think it makes sense even more than ever to expand our human timeline from 2,000 years to 12,000 years, and so that we can pull out that curtain of history to even further back and include all those historical key pieces that have taken place, even leading us to today. Anywhere from 12,000 years ago, roughly, where the Ice Age was just finishing up, and the Fertile Crescent was where it was essentially being exposed, areas became warmer, and everything between that point to today. If we're looking at the history of science and mathematics, the history of language, the history of writing, the history of literature, the history of food, agriculture, things like that. I think it makes so much more sense to start looking at our broader, history from a much more broader lens, so that we can see, all the commonalities that we do have as a one human planet, right? And I'd also like to just end with this point on, this whole thing about Flint and Graham's discussion about the past. Despite their differences, I think it's an incredibly valuable conversation that has taken place, and probably invites the rest of us to speak about this more and ponder about this more. It's going to broaden our shared historical perspective and bring focus to the incredible curiosity that a lot of us do have for being able to decipher where we came from, and maybe even appreciate the oneness that comes from that, right? I think, just to emphasize, Flint and Graham both agree that more funding is required for archaeology. So perhaps as extra pair of hands, extra viewers, extra voices, let's see how far we can kind of, as a small community somewhere in the corner of the internet, help these two gentlemen to push this narrative even further. I think we all want to be able to have that perspective, and I think it's amazing that as humans we can have and deploy this level of curiosity, and perhaps even bring some sort of meaning to our lives by this kind of intellectual curiosity. Very much welcomed, I think, if more people were thinking along these lines, or inquiring about the great human saga, right? That has led us to this point, us here today, where I can speak to you through this YouTube video, leveraging all the technological enhancements that has taken place, cultural enhancements, you name it, publicizing, sharing a voice, all that kind of stuff. So I get to leverage our shared human history to be able to share my findings with you. So thank you for watching. At Human Era, we very much celebrate this kind of quest for discovery, and explore these kind of areas that I think make sense for us to just ponder upon. What led us to this point where we are today, enjoying this kind of, having the liberty, perhaps, to think like this and to imagine what came before us. It's truly a phenomena, right? Anyway, the last piece from my side is this Human Era channel. Subscribe, like, all that kind of stuff. Comment, ask questions. Let's continue the conversations and take it where it needs to go. I think this is only the beginning of the Human Era. Maybe 30, 40 years ago, 30, 40 years later, we might be even able to shift the kind of human timeline, or how we think about time. So much for us to go through. Even history of calendars, right? So thanks again for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time.